why is I'm seeing Africans thousands of years with corn before
Because
Christopher
the
Columbus?
corn, they got to make an excuse for the corn to originate over here and be in ancient cultures. They was trying to cover all that up by giving a backstory of contributions to a thief,
Yeah.
right? We know that the Anunnaki was growing corn in Sumer
Yeah.
because they got it painted on the walls.
Right.
But we know corn originated over here with Tahuti out of the monkey village,
Right.
right? Botany, where he was growing the different vegetables
Right.
to form the dietary base of the same food stock that the humans was made from, the
Right.
carbon of corn. So corn became the celebratory food of all of the indigenous cultures, North and South America.
Right. And the rituals and things. Yep. Masons do it in their rituals. Yeah.
Yeah, there's prosperity,
Mhm.
abundance. The more corn we grow, corn is a ritual food for the tribes,
Go ahead.
especially when you start going to the Southwest. But notice it's primarily desert.
Go ahead.
They have to trade cactus for corn from the desert where the grass meet the desert at. Trading posts. And then they go back and use the stuff they got and mix the corn and make their dishes.
That makes sense.
You got stuff that grow in the desert, but it won't grow in regular soil. It's not conducive for its habitat.
Right.
Right. But that doggone cactus is durable. That sucker grow in the wintertime.
And you can drink a lot. You can get water out of cactus. Hey, so you thinking that it's a lot of foods that they saying that's bad for us now that we were eating thousands of years, and then all of a sudden now they saying that okay, like so, like I just to a lot of herbalists. They talk about corn is acidic, corn is bad, it's don't break down into your intestines. But then why did we design it? And why were we eating it thousands of years and never had any problems? Then all of a sudden now we got problems out of eating corn. We was eating corn thousands of years.
You know, remember, they don't want us to eat bison, they want us to eat beef.
Yeah.
Right? Beef not good for us either.
Go ahead.
But it tastes good.
Yeah.
The taste remind us of bison.
Yeah.
And all anything else, our uncles down south gonna figure out how to cook it.
Right.
The pit masters.
Right.
The Pitman clan.
Right.
Right? They know how to cook with the fire in the hole.
Right.
This all cultural.
Yeah.
So they if you eat your cultural diet, it'll tune your frequency into your culture. But that don't mean you can't eat other food too. But your cultural diet is just something that ties you back to your culture. You know, we love beans, right? Cornbread. What they say when they see when they see somebody big cornbread fed
a thick, big heavy set, dude.
Yeah. Okay. Because the food stocks that we use was to facilitate the growth of the children, and the mother from the area knew what to grow in order to feed her children for maximum growth.
Yeah.
Mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally. When she put it together in the kitchen, this is where you get the term soul food. Because she cooking from the heart. The highest frequency of woman is when she in the frequency of mother providing for her offspring and her mate. Right? So while she's stirring the pot, she's putting magic in the pot. Right. That's why some people can't nobody cook like my mama.
Right. Sure.
My mama was the coldest. People come from because my mama loved to do it because she loved to take care of other people. Mm-hmm. So it comes out in the food.
Right.
Seasoned just right. Flavor just right. And you ain't cook enough of it no matter how much you cook.
Right. That's good. I like greens and cornbread. We came
Mhm.
up on beans and rice and cornbread down south. Beans, rice, beans, potatoes. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
You name it.
But you got to remember, see, we conditioned to see from the lens of the age we live in.
Uh-huh.
But you got to remember, bagged potato chips is not 100 years old.
Right. Right.
Matter of fact, the only thing that's bagged like that that's older than that is popcorn, maize.
Go ahead.
That was our potato chips, our Doritos, our Funyuns, right? We wouldn't even have potatoes like that back then, right? The Irish had to come over here and bring potatoes with them because they
Hey,
got
somebody
they
told me
spoiled
that
their land with salt water.
I looked it up. They said that potatoes was indigenous to South America.
They have something like a potato from South America.
The original one, it was the original potato that they showed us from. It's like a purple. It's a purple one. It's not the.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's a darker, a melaninated, kind of like
Well,
the
we've been
potato.
had dealings with the Irish for a long time, and so it wouldn't surprise me if it didn't come from South America.
Yeah, it says the potato. It's like by six, maybe 1,000 different kinds of potatoes. But I think
Hmm.
it said they originated from South America and the corn. It's a lot of stuff I'm starting to
You got
find
to
out that
remember,
originated from here.
lions originate over here.
Yep, I found that out too. Camels.
Elephants originate from over here.
Yep, camels.
Camels originate from over here.
The jackal black dog that they said that do for Tahuti, I mean, used for Anubis, originate from over here.
But that's
And the
really
jackal
not.
across the
That's
north.
the Zolo over
Yeah,
here.
that's
That's
the Zolo.
Anubis.
Yeah,
But because there's no Zolo over there, they use the jackal.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, so that stands the reason that Anubis was in down there. And they found Anubis is the mommy that the god of burial and all that, right? Because that
Hmm.
dog buries his bones or whatever, they get that right. But the oldest mommy is found over here. Like the oldest mommy, so that they were burying that same style of wrapping the bodies and
Funerary rites.
yeah, that they was doing that over here already before. So what
That's
they talking
because
about?
I told you Egypt over there was just a satellite of over here.
Go ahead.
And the Egypt over there is Hollywood. The real
Go ahead.
thing was over here.
Go ahead.
That's just an outpost.
Mm-hmm.
All of the temples, the great temples of the world at the pyramid base, whether it's the ones in China, Japan, South America, the islands, the under the ocean around the equator, those were all temple priests schools where you taught the boys how to become men, you taught the girls how to become women,
Mm-hmm.
right? And teach up family structure. The temple priests begin to be able to teach the people in the community from the practice that they put in the temples. And this is why you have your Garden of Delight story.
Mm-hmm.
You learn in the temperament of people so that you will know how to be able to manage and control people without having to control a person.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So when they understand the psychology, now you can let them roam free and you can control them from a distance like you got a remote control on them.
Right.
I know your temperament. I know what's going to agitate you. So I'm going to
Right.
put that in front of you and make you triggered as much as possible until you can't control yourself no more.
Right.
Right. Then you
Drive
break
them. I was
character.
driving them, putting the steering wheel in his back and driving them,
Yeah.
taking control of them.
Yeah.
Hey, we got about 5 minutes, y'all. We're gonna take about 2 more questions before we get out of here, y'all. So people can they say we too loud. Let's see. Joseph in the Bible took corn to Egypt. Yeah, he took corn to Egypt, but where did he get that corn from? Because we starting to find out that this mate was the main Egypt, Tamaray of the West. Really, it wasn't called Egypt; it was called Tamaray, and Tamaray stands for Black Madonna, Mary, Inanna. It all goes back to Madonna. I mean, to Inanna.
Yeah.
right? The
The
people become
corn,
slaves.
the corn did originate over here,
Okay,
and it was taken over there. Remember, Egypt over there now older than the Egypt in the Grand Canyon.
go ahead.
The Grand Canyon is so old, it has more erosion than any of the great pyramids over there in where you call Egypt.
Crack their head, Rod.
The
Man.
Nile Valley is an outpost. The Emerald Tablets told you that Tahuti rose up in this ship and flew east
Yeah,
and settled in the land of the hairy barbarian, and he used his weapon to make them bow and cower before him.
right.
Right? That wasn't no made up story. That
Man,
wasn't
he
just
left
no.
them over
That
here. They
wasn't
went
no.
over there.
That wasn't no children's bedtime story with all the metaphysics and quantum physics formulas throughout the book.
Right,
He's telling you something.
right,
Somebody sent him. He tell you in there who sent him. His father.
right. Inky,
Yeah.
right. And he came over. He
Right.
was over here in the city of the gods. The city of the gods was the city of the gods in Atlantis. That were the first places that he was building. Besides when he built those pyramids to balance out the earth. But I'm saying he was over here in the city of the gods doing most of the work and the teachings and the
Right. But you got
lessons.
to remember too, all of the pyramids had a gate, a stargate,
Right.
where you could walk in. The one in Arizona comes out was kept calibrated to automatically take you to Giza.
Go ahead.
That's why when people think that Africa and Arizona is back to back, because you walk into this portal, you come out in the pyramid complex over there talking about how the did I get here?
Right. I
It's
heard
a
a story like
it's a
this.
portal. It's a Stargate portal. It's guarded by men in black. They will bust a cap in your ass and make you disappear.
Damn.
They gonna first
Yeah.
tell you to leave, but if you still try to wiggle your way in there, you're gonna come up missing.
Well, I can see that they found those stargates. I know that for sure, and I know that those portholes that it's a whole bunch of because Tahuti wrote about the portholes, and Inanna wrote about the portholes in the book you told me to go get called Return of Inanna. She
Mhm.
talked about going through the portholes to get to the center of the earth, right? Like she said, it's portholes in those pyramids, and it gets the pyramids in the center of the earth, and you can walk through that porthole and come out in the center of the earth, and where these reptilians live it. Yeah, so I was like,
And
dang,
that's
man,
why we didn't need bridges from America to England.
go ahead.
We ain't need it. All we got to do is turn the dial in the temple and walk in through the
That makes
waters and come out on the other side and be over there
that
in
makes sense.
Stonehenge somewhere.
That makes sense. Somebody told me underground, we had already built tunnel systems all to connect around the world underground.
Yeah, well, not the world. We connected. This land was connected by a tunnel system, and other places in the world had underground tunnel systems. Over here, when they talk about the Underground Railroad, remember how they used to mail the kids?
Yeah.
That was our way of moving stuff across the land at far distances.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
And they use that to tell a fanciful tale because subconsciously we'll remember it. And we might even have flashbacks and dreams of past lives of experiencing being shipped from one part of the land to another through a tube. It's
Hmm.
moving so fast you just shivering,
Yeah.
right? So you leaving in Boston, but you ending up in Chicago in only a couple of hours
Right.
because that thing moving so fast through them tunnels.
That makes sense. I'm gonna do more research on that. Hey, y'all, we about to get ready to get up out of here. Hey, y'all, we had about 5,000 people on tonight. We got about 2,000 on now, about maybe more. If y'all want to show Rod some love, he'll do it for the money. But we got this is Rod Hayes Cash App right here. If you want to, everybody send him $1, man. Let me get something to drink real quick. Everybody send him $1, man. Show him some love. And we're gonna have Rod back on when we get more research. Right now, I'm just building out these playlists, and we'll get Rod back on when we have more questions. If y'all want to bring him back on for a Q&A so we can stay
I'm about,
updated.
I'm about to be on hiatus for a minute, Elder. I gotta go do some TLC to myself.
Okay. Hey, go ahead, Roy. I got about 200 tapes that I got to do, man. I got to get so much. I got so many receipts off of. I know we got 300 tapes, so I can just go through it. Go take notes from every single tape and just. I'm gonna be a while. I'm gonna be a while.
Oh, remind me to send you Phoenix hookup. So
Yeah. I need to get. I need to. That's what I was gonna tell you. I'm glad you said something. I need to get in touch with Phoenix to get her on for the break. Come back with the divination show on the birth chart, so she can go into more on it. Because we going into that, learning that information back, so we can start logging these children's birth and figure out who's who, so we can. So because some people come back, like if we know when Emmett Till come back this time, we'll protect him more if we had to than we would. Say if we knew Tamir Rice was Emmett Till, we would have protected him. But we don't. They said we don't. They don't want us logging the birth. They don't want us start watching. We don't do this no
we
more.
used to. That's what a big mama was used to always evaluate the child.
Mm-hmm.
She checking for birth defects, for just an overall checkup. Check
Mm-hmm.
his head, his ears, his eye movements, just like the regular doctor do. But she's looking for something that tells her what ancestor this is, whether it's a birthmark, or whatever, a mole, a freckle,
Mm-hmm.
right? Something might tell her who this is, and she'll watch him interacting with the mama, and she'll figure out within about 9 months who that is.
Mm-hmm.
And that's normally how long it takes for a big mama that's tuned in. She's normally a doula, and she'll be able to tell you, "Oh, this is Uncle So and So right here. This is Uncle Willie. Look at he do his face. They're like Uncle
Yeah.
Willie, don't he?
Yeah.
Right? She know who she talking about, but we
Yeah.
was told that we don't know what we talking about by following our culture. So they told you that they old wives' tales. Yeah, but go read them. The old wives' tales is all wisdom. That's what the old wives' tales was. Your Sufi stories. Always to increase your wisdom. So if you do find yourself in the power seat, you'll be a wise ruler. Because there ain't no sense of taking you in from being an oppressed despot and make you into a powerful, wealthy despot. Leave your ass where you at. Develop your character first. Because character matters. Right? Build yourself up to make yourself qualified to fill the position you want to fill in your life. If you want to
Right.
be free, try to free as many people as you can. You might mess around and free the whole world by accident.
There you go.
And the more people free, the closer we is to heaven on earth. And that's the destination. And that's why we want to restore the matriarchy.
Right.
So we
Fine.
can restore heaven on earth. Put the
Fine. And
power
hey,
where it belongs, the machine run the way it's supposed to run.
that's right. We're all machine, and the matriarch's coming back to power now. I can feel it.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I wish I had Queen Diallo talk about. I'm gonna send it to you, Elder, so you can hear what she's saying about the admiralty jurisdiction being over. She said that's why they doing all of these courts over Zoom, because they're not supposed to be holding court in the building.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
I wasn't expecting that, but then as soon as she said it, it clicked because they've been
Yeah,
ordered to shut
yeah,
down.
yeah. Send me that.
Yeah, they've been ordered to shut down, but that's also ties back to that one video clip that was talking about them sending people to jail for a fine. Most of the stuff they send us to jail for is a fine, but they rather hold us for the free labor instead of allowing us to pay the fine.
Yep, that's right. That's what she said in that tape. The little clip we just played.
Mm-hmm. See, when it was under the Commonwealth, if you committed a crime against the community, you was allowed to buy your way out or serve your sentence.
Community service.
Well, it might not be community service. You might be working on somebody plantation because back then they had county farms. They didn't have
Oh,
prisons,
okay.
right? The county farm was repossessed land from the people who was on the tribes. Homestead Act, right? So they're setting up homesteads, but they need some labor to work the land, and they can't afford to pay them, so they get them from the prison system. And then they pay the prison system as one entity instead of paying the individual slave.
Right. I seen
Right.
it. I seen it.
That's why you end up with a prison industrial complex. Now you got a pipeline from the hood to the prisons running efficiently through the court system, and the courts are just banks. And that's
Yep.
what the bar is. The bar is the bank. It's where the water come, where you come out the water, you come onto the bar. The bar is the bank, right? The judge supposed to be an unbiased fiduciary, but you don't know that you ain't now one of the plaintiff or the defendant. You just standing there as a piece of information that verifies that they talking about this straw man on your paperwork. You the equivalent of a thumb drive. The straw man is drawn from your genetic code, your biological blueprint, your makeup. And it is this straw man that they created in your name that they can control. But when you break out of the straw man mentality and be step into your sovereign thinking, that's when you take your power back. Then you realize that they've been lying to us the whole time, giving us false delusions of grandeur, of we shall overcome in a system that was designed to make us always be fighting to overcome, but never actually overcome nothing.
Damn, that's cold.
That's what Jesse said, keep hope alive. Hope is the past tense of help.
Right.
Right? So in order to keep hope alive, you got to keep begging for help.
Damn. That's cold. That's a
Kill
cold
hope.
analogy there, man.
Kill hope anywhere it stand at. You don't look for no help.
That's a cold piece of work right there, boy.
And,
Jesse the whole time working for them people, man.
when you ain't looking for no help, the truth will come. Because the truth don't need no support, but it to come to support you. That's why I say, Elijah say, know thyself. He say, a man know thyself, lest ye be free.
Right.
Right. So, and Sun Tzu say, know yourself and know your enemy. Victory is assured. Right. So we all know that there's something about the knowledge of self that takes you to another level. So you study the self. What are you? Where you come from? How you get here? Is the story they telling you the true story? Do it match what you feel in your soul? Stop accepting shit that you don't got nothing to do with. Participate in your own salvation. Malachi say the helping hand you looking for is at the end of your own arm. Once we learn to become our own savior, we end up saving thousands of others in the accidental process. That's the incidental result of saving yourself. You save thousands. And then everybody you triggering to save theyself in turn is saving thousands. It won't be taking long before it's contagious like the 100 monkey effect, affecting enough of us to know that this shit is over and this power base is about to switch back from the corporations to the people. That's why I say you gotta get you a family bank, but they're gonna be teaching family banking at the Small Business Administration when on the turnaround. We're gonna use what was working, but we're gonna use it to work the way we need it to, and not to control us, but to liberate us. Look, these tribes over here, we be minding our own business, but when we have to get involved, we gonna figure out how to win, one way or another. It's more than one way to shoot a gat. There's more than one way to skin a cat. right? And there's more than one way to rise, motherfuckers.
Right, right. And
Yeah,
on that
that's
note,
it right there. I'm done. I done shot my
on
wad.
that note, we can drop the mic and walk off stage. Y'all, we're gonna be back. We love you all. Free Dr. Malachi Z. York, free Larry Hoop, free Jeff Ford, free Restore Jamal, free all of our political brothers and prisoners. There's a prisoners of war, pretty much, of this blood conjure, this blood thing to take out the princes on the land. That's what this is all about. And, and so we're gonna be back for you guys. We love you all. We send divine love to you all throughout the boundless universe. As we prepare for the rise of the matriarch, we send divine love to all the empresses on the land and divine protection.
Into Lake Huron, all that was Shinnecock territory, but they had tribes. They had Mohawk, Tomahawk. They had all of the names are exonyms. The Mohawk didn't call themselves Mohawk. The people called them Mohawk, and the name began to be written in literature. That's how you know who they are. The Apache didn't call themselves the Apache, but that's what the settlers called them, right? And in those names being who they was recognized at in the reading material that was being disseminated, they have to go by the name that's written on the paper in order for the people that's doing the reading to know who they are. It's just like Cherokee. Cherokee is not a tribal name. It's an exonym, and it was used when we was using English language and dealing with English colonizers, which looked like me. They look more like me than any pale face from Europe. The first settlers that came from Columbus expedition to the Mayflower to all of those were melanated people. We didn't start getting other people until they started advancing and getting land from us through the sweetheart swindle and murdering big mamas in order to turn family plots into plantations. It's all part of the paper genocide. So that's what the purpose of it is. The purpose of it is to make the people think they from another part of the earth and they have no claim to this part of the earth.
Mm-hmm. You know, I heard years ago, I remember I think Sonetta was filming at this time, and he did a video. It might have been with Dr. Arlene Bay. It was somebody, and the Morse brother was saying that they had to do Hurricane Katrina because they had to give up that land back to I guess the Washita. That they had to get the land back to the Washita or something like that.
They still ain't got it back, so that can't be accurate. But they was trying to build a casino complex in the Ninth Ward, where all the most amount of people left. Mm-hmm. They was mad at them people. It was vengeance. Nobody wanted to give up their little quarter-acre plot with their house on it that their grandmama was living in, and her mama lived in. They didn't want to give it up because that's our culture. That's part of who we is. Once we get a plot of land, you almost got to use a welder to separate us from it. Mm-hmm. You know, so when they was trying to get the Ninth Ward, they wanted to build a casino complex. That's what that was about. Katrina was about casino money and getting people off the land and they end up not using it. There's still a whole lot of vacant territory over there. I think it's called the Ninth Ward, if I'm not mistaken. Mm. But they was planning on building a whole bunch of casinos, like 5 major casinos and then some hotels and restaurants and stuff, and the people didn't want to sell.
So around what year was they reclassifying people as? Did they start reclassifying people as Negro and colored?
As soon as they start, well, the year wise is subjective because none of those terms, we didn't describe people by skin color. We described them by character, right? We tie them to a totem and ascribe them to a character. Like, for instance, let's say Chief Standing Up. That means he a stand-up dude and his totem is the elk. Right? Chief Little River, right? He's a short dude, but his character flows like the river. This is how we name people. We didn't name people group names or classifications. Professions was named after the people that did the work. All of the Smiths were metal workers. All Smiths on this land they were metal workers, but we didn't call them Smiths. Smiths is a European term for people over there that did the same thing, metal workers. So they came over here, they named this whole family the Smiths. Right. So now all these people were Smiths. But then you had subgroups. You got the goldsmith, you got the blacksmith, right? And that means that the goldsmiths was the ones that was melting down the gold, making the bars. The blacksmith was the ones who wrought the iron and made the fences and the gates that went around the family cemetery plot to keep the kids from playing on the ancestors. Right? So stuff like that we did naturally. This is already who we are. The family that was building the bridges, the European come over here and call their tribe the Bridges. Now you got all these people running around like Ty Bridges thinking he from Africa, and then he got some European name, last name Bridges.
Wow, damn. Hey, Ross,
all the time you organic to the land.
What percentage of Africans came to the U.S. versus, let's say, the Caribbean and South America?
That's less than 5%.
That's a small number, right? You
got to remember.
You confident in that number? That's damn 5.
They told us that they brought 30 million niggas from Africa over here to North America in the South. And we was all on the plantations in the South. 30 million niggas from Africa. Them Africans' temperament ain't like that. You not finna put no 30 million Zulu, Dinka, Mandinka. You not finna put no 30 million of them nowhere and have peace. You gonna lose. We was already here and they was makeshifting family farms into plantations. And they was telling the family that worked the yard, worked the farms, they wasn't allowed to leave because there was a war going on.
Right.
That was the great deception. And the Masons got a record of it all. So I want they bring their ass out and start talking. Old raised and past ass niggas. Hiram told you motherfuckers to get to moving and y'all sitting there acting like that shit ain't true. So you don't even believe the shit you teach. Jabaline, Jubaline, and Job. Man, all of them. They know what's going on. The Mason seal is on the chief's shackles that was ransomed back to the tribe. The Masonic symbol is on that. Them wasn't no slaves, they was ransoms. It's a book called Moors and Masonry that talk about how they was ransoming them back to the tribe. The leader. That they capture your leader, and then they realize the dumbest shit in the world is to let them have their leader back. Scatter the shepherd and strike the shepherd and scatter the flock. And then,
so, man, when we talk about Caucasian people, at this point with the mixing that went on, you was talking to me earlier. You're saying
man,
that
look, with all of them people that was the offspring of Mr. Charlie and them up in the big house, they done kicked Big Mama out the big house. They done murdered her. Now they got Uncle Charlie running the big house, this house nigga. And now he done hired these hands and he told them they could do whatever they want to them women out there. They ain't no kin to me. They'll sell their own mama. So what you think they're gonna do to our children? They'll sell their own children. So what you think they'll do to our mama? The only thing that got value to them is their brother. Oh, homosexual, pedophile, priest, cut ass niggas.
And who's they? Who's this they you talking about? I don't want them to snatch this video, so don't curse too much.
I got you. I call myself. I get a little hyped up talking about them niggas because
I see.
They wrong, man. They so wrong on so many levels. But the problem is they got us fighting now about our status on the land after they done burnt down all of the records in Mississippi and Louisiana and Alabama and Arkansas and Florida and South Carolina. And we have the record of them burning down the records building, and then they tell us you can't trace your ancestry. Yeah, because every time I get to this point, it's a burnt down records building. You can't get past that. They done destroyed the records.
Damn.
Paper genocide. Paper genocide.
Right, who's they? Who's they? Let's be more specific.
Them niggas whose feds is in George Washington Masonic Memorial, them the ones we was fighting. Them, that's the leadership of the contingent of dirty Moors that came over here. All of they feds with their names on it or they shrine on it, they had to be identified. We know who they is. And the ones that sided with us is all on the painting of the last Mayan chief. All with all of them, and he got like Carlos V. That's King Charles V.
Okay.
But he took sides with us because he was part of kicking them out of Europe.
Okay. Let me ask you a question, Rod. Coming up in consciousness, the Moors always talked about John Hanson on the back of the $2 bill. Who's John Hanson, Rod? Whose team he was on? Whose side?
He was the first president of the Continental Congress. The Continental Congress was morphed from tribal leadership into leadership by these blood families that keep being elected president. They all related. They all related. So they was to be the ones to continue what they call the New World. Remember, everybody keep talking about the New World Order. The New World Order started in 1492 when they founded the New World. The order for the New World is to fight for who it belongs to. Do the world belong to the people of the world, or do the world belong to the invaders? That's what this whole thing is, the New World Order. The whole U.S. military paradigm is the New World Order. How else you gonna get your conquered enemies' children to fight your wars with the coldest warfare minds on the planet if they don't believe that you them?
Yeah.
They were never supposed to let us in their military. We fought for that stuff. Why would we fight to be in their military? We needed somebody on the inside, baby. We gotta have a dog in every fight. You gotta expect to win, but you gotta have a dog handler that know his dog well enough to know which one of the dogs was his in the fight. Then he can go back and collect all his money.
Right, right.
Yeah, and the German Shepherd Club, that was my dog over there. Yeah, yeah. His name Red Bone Reg. You see that one over there, the pit bull, that blue pit right there? Yeah, that's mine. Yeah, his name is Blue Head Buster. Right, I know my dogs. Wherever the chiefs make a move, a chief gonna be born that know his dog in the fight. Chief Zola, DMX. Tupac Amaru, the same pair as Crooks. Chief Sitting Bull, Notorious B.I.G. Christopher Wallace. Chief Crazy Horse, right? ODB, Wu-Tang Clan. Right, I can do this all the way until tomorrow, telling you where I seen all of the chiefs at and what they was telling me in their art, what they was telling me in their lectures. Elijah Muhammad, Clans 13X, Yahweh being Yahweh. They all saying something, just telling the chiefs what to look for to find the imposters on the land. And when Angel Bay was locked up, I knew who it was. When they had to lock Angel Bay up, Jeff Fort, now I know who the enemy is. It ain't no secret no more. Larry Hoover was never Jeff Fort enemy to begin with. Why would they tell the kids on the street that they enemies so that they can make them fight each other? Where your dog at in the fight? They telling us the tribes is gangs, but we don't know gang is just a villainized word for tribe. Well, because we don't never look words up to find the backstory to the word. They call it etymology.
Rod, what can you tell me about Pascal Beverly Randolph?
They
say he used to go with Lincoln.
I can't tell you a lot about him right now because he's not fresh on my mind. But during that era, a lot of those guys, they wrote about their position in the colonization of this land. You have, like for instance, you won't see a lot of the writings of the Iroquois Confederacy or the Cherokee Confederacy became your Continental Congress when they made an agreement on land distribution with the Iroquois Confederacy, which triggered the financial backlash that caused the Civil War. Was never fought about slavery. Slavery is an after the fact, let's try to tell a story to them this way so that they will believe the narrative that they came from Africa. But now the babies got it. They proving it better than me. I can get out the way and let the babies go now, and they done. Because once the Braves get it, the Chiefs can sit down now and watch this mental fire burn the land, scorch the earth with awakening. Because the babies got it now. I told them when the babies get it, right, the old regime is screwed. The babies got it now. Y'all stuck. Yeah. The babies got it now. They can't undo it now. Because the thing that they didn't have in consideration was that we was gonna have a record of the history from the time they started telling the lie to down, but we gonna go to the history before they start telling the lie and see how they describe us in a 1700 and 1800 writings versus they 1900 writings. The physical description is us all day long. It only the ones they call the Mongolians when they say that the Seminoles was taking runaway slaves. The Mongolians was the runaway slaves. This what nobody not getting. They thinking that when you're looking at this nappy haired dude on the cover of the book that he the runaway slave. He not the runaway slave. They brought Mongolian, Hun, Vedic slaves with them when they came. They wasn't no pale faces over here yet. When the Seminole Wars struck up, there was no pale. There was only a handful in the Appalachians, and they all had red hair and freckles. We would spot them a mile away, and it came from Ireland. And they wasn't finna help them. They wasn't finna help them do nothing without Big Mama permission. Now we call them hillbillies and poor white trash, but they the ones gave us snipers in the armed forces, right? Because they took what they learned from the tribes on how to hunt when the firearm came and began to use it the same way, but with a further reach. And all of this is warfare. White supremacy is a war strategy. It's a war call and a war strategy. White has nothing to do with skin color. That's the description of the families of the royal houses. They used to wear only white. Mm-hmm. But when they got infiltrated, the Phoenicians began to convince them of the purple and the red garments. And then they settled into Europe. And then they came in as Ottomans, and they came in as the Etruscans and settled Italy. And now we thinking that the paleface, it wasn't them. The white man ain't white. He just used to wear white clothes. Jefe Blanco. Mm-hmm. They still do it in Mexico. You go around there, you want to know who the big dude is? KS Jefe Blanco. Where he at? They know Jefe Blanco mean the boss because he wear the white suit. They did it in Dukes of Hazzard with Boss Hogg. And they keep making mockery of our ignorance by putting it in movies like the Dukes of Hazzard, putting Boss Hogg in the white suit as the mayor. We know that the mayor is the town mother. So when they put Jefe Blanco there, we know what they're saying. We said we knocked your queen. But she ain't the queen. She's just the mayor of her flock. But we got a big queen, right? They call her the Queen Bee. Her color's black and gold. She run the money. We don't know this though, because we forget our culture. And then when we start explaining the culture back to those that's been socially indoctrinated and institutionalized with this police state, they believe the narrative that was given in order to separate us from the land and rewrote the history. And this is also part of the paper genocide. When you take the history that was there and then you bend it and you put your name where our name go, and you put somebody else's name where the other person's name go, but you still telling the same story, somebody gonna figure out your lie.
You know,
and that's paper genocide.
You know, you mentioned you mentioned the Seminoles several times. What can you tell us about John Horse? That's a name that we hear a lot. What can you tell us about that brother right there?
He was probably one of the other chiefs down there. But when I study the Seminole Wars, I don't remember all of the names of the most important people because I'm trying to see the event. In the names, a lot of times I can't go in detail on some of them, especially the ones that was helped. The ones that was hurting us, I could probably run their whole history down. But some of the ones that I already know, well, he harmless, he one of us, he ain't doing, I won't remember his whole backstory. Right? But when the time come, I could tell you when you search the Gullah Wars, and the Seminole Wars is how the Spanish saw the war. They called it the War of the Seminoles. Right? Some people say Cimarron, but that's not, it was Seminoles, the half-breeds. And the people from the land call it the Gullah Wars because we was called to fight the wars, the Gullah Wars, by Gullah Geechee Big Mama. And I read that by reading the migration patterns of the people across the land. And then I know when I see a certain amount of tribes deliberately displaced themselves from their homeland, we don't leave our home territories unless we fight in a war. So when I'm looking back at all of these people was conversion between Louisiana and South Carolina, they all coming south and then they all moving east. Then I'm seeing Hawaiians coming across, they not going where they normally go. Hawaiians used to travel between the Maori Islands, where Tonga, Samoa, all into New Zealand. That was their travel route of normal practice of trade, because they big mamas used to interact. Our big mamas, we dealt with the Central American islands, Hispaniola, Cuba, Jamaica, St. Croix, all of those islands. Our big mama was due to caretake and the trade with them. So when I see Hawaiians floating into Mexico and Southern California and Arizona, and then I'm seeing Samoans and Tongans, and they all coming in, and Big Mama called us to war. I know we don't move like that. We out of character. Because I know my people, I can watch the flow and I know where we going. And then I look at ground zero, Orlando. And then I go study the area and find out about the Gullah Wars. Only way we come into war from that far away, it's only one person that can call them. And at the time, the big mama that held that rank was Gullah Geechee. And she lived on an island off the coast, I think, of North Carolina. What they call the Gullah Islands. She lived on the island and she seen them SOBs coming and called us to war, and they didn't have no telephones. Remember that. Ain't no telephone. It ain't none of this dash. It ain't no Morse code. It's spirit. It's spiritual mastery of the self and the understanding of the self. All of the big mamas is hive connected. They connected. They know. They all making their individual moves, but they checking in with each other while they doing it. And when the chiefs of the land, especially a war chief, sit back and look at history, he can say and tell you exactly what happened without knowing damn person name. I'm looking at the migration pattern. And they dumb enough to reprint it because they think we not gonna know how to read ourselves. That means you don't have no knowledge of self. And that's why people like Elijah Muhammad, Marcus Garvey, Du Bois, they was all fighting to give you self-knowledge and self-esteem enough to seek further self-knowledge that'll break you out of the trap of inferiority complexes manufactured by your enemy. And we didn't swear to be their enemy. They swore to be ours. We welcomed them in peace, but they came with war. We had open hands and theirs was full of dirt. And they wanted to land. How do we know they wanted to land, Brother Rich? What happened? How did they get Manhattan? What they say happened to give them Manhattan? You remember?
Oh, no. What happened?
They said it was a string of beads, right?
Mm-hmm.
And some other shells. Less than $1.25 worth of actual material. They sold Manhattan. That's BS because we don't sell land. That's how we know that they came for the land, because they was negotiating, trying to get the land. And Chief Pontiac told them, we don't believe in selling land. It's almost every big chief that you look up, tell them we don't believe in selling land. They even tell you about it in their parody movies of us. When they got the Mongolian or the Italian dude acting like he a Native American, asking the colonel, how did you get the land? Did you barter for it? Did you trade for it? I'm already free on this land. Well, all of a sudden I got to start paying you. Who are you? Where you come from? What's your credentials? They not us. They came for war and we handed it back. You know, war does not stay the same. If you don't know what warfare is, then you will never know what a police state is. And when you don't know what a police state is, you don't know what an occupied territory is, then you won't know why we went from common law to admiralty law. It wouldn't make sense. It's going to keep you in a perpetual loop of confusion.
Yeah, you was talking about a little earlier. Wow, Rod been hot. He's been hot this whole for 40 minutes straight, y'all. Damn, shit. Shout out to everybody in the chat. We got about 2,700 people in the chat. Oh man, what a show! What a show! We're talking about the land. We're talking about the soil. We're talking about who we are. We're talking about the lies, the deceit, the narcissism that took place. The shit. I mean, this is a lot. This is a lot that the brothers
leave the sorcery out, because that's how they find. That's how they finally got what's called a state, a ceasefire agreement. Them feds is in the George Washington Memorial challenged the chief to a conjure war. That's why they on display. But you don't see none of the feathers on display. So who's being concealed in the conflict? Those Shriners, those 32-degree Scottish Rite Freemasons. They issued a conjure war to the chiefs of the land because they thought their masonry was better than our mastery, and they just had their ass handed to them. Because they found out that in the end, in order to close it out, they had to call the same chief we had to call, because they can't close out without it. Because he gonna come and tell you it was a conjure war. It was 50 chiefs. playing Fanix Chief in the Dark, right? And it was however many phases it is, that's how many of them it was. It's more of them than us, according to Noble Drew Ali. We the many, they the few. But they got great impact on dogma, and we are masters of the morals. We'll be morally correct as we need to be in order to outclass them MFs. It's up for them. They dismantling the corporation in real time as we speak. I done sick my watch doge on them. Everybody think they know what's happening. They don't know what's going on, Rich. They just think they know what's going on. It's over with. The game is over. We won. They lost. Pack your and go. It's over. So Andrew Jackson come in with this Trail of Tears family swap, where they kicked all of our family out in the South. So we had to be adopted in. The old Mississippians adopted in under the Chata, the Chickasaw, Cherokee, and all these other tribal names that they imposed upon us, right? But we still know who we is because the message is in the music for 100 years telling the same story. Strange fruit. Black hand. They don't give a fuck about us.
Shit. Hey, Rod, I ain't gonna lie, man. Me and you, man, we've been going at it with these videos since about 2021 or 2022. I ain't never see you this emotional in the video, brother. I ain't even gonna lie. I ain't never see this emotional. This
Because
is
it's to the point now, it's done. They lost. What is they still bitching about? Go on, take your ass to Gitmo, jump on the boat, then stop bitching. Stop crying. Stop trying to stop the process that you can't stop. You ain't Superman. You can't stop this speeding train. It's just not gonna happen. The games is up. It's over.
yeah.
They should have never involved me if they wanted this to continue on, because I'm gonna tell it like it is, and they ain't gonna like it. And people feelings gonna get hurt because they thought we was Africans, and they African pride gonna be busting their native head. I'm not trying to agitate my people. I'm trying to get the imposters off the land. The same thing Tupac was doing, the same thing Eazy-E was doing, the same thing George Clinton was doing, the same thing that Smokey Robinson was doing, right? But we don't pay the artists no attention. That's why you can get more information through art than you can from history, from school. School is designed to mislead you. The artist is designed to tell you the raw and uncut truth, no matter how much you may not like it.
Mm-hmm.
But it might be good to dance to.
Mm-hmm.
The rappers been telling us what's going on in the community the whole time. If you can look at it, we got rap broke up into sections, Rich, don't we?
Yeah.
We got old school rap. What did they talk about in old school rap, Rick?
We
Do you
talking
remember?
about the Public Enemy era? You talking about that era?
No, that's not old school rap. That's new school rap.
What would you call old school rap? What would you?
Anything before 89?
So like
Run DMC, LL Cool J, Houdini,
right.
Smith and Wesson, Cool G. That era of rap, it was primarily about two things: dancing and getting your knowledge game up.
Right. Right.
It was about social awareness to your surroundings as part of your studies, and they was telling you what to study. Run DMC came out as the kings of rock, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they first came out on Hard Times. That's when they got national. How do Hard Times start? Hard Times spread just like the flu. Watch out, homeboy, don't let it get you. Prices go up. Don't let your pockets go down. He's talking about inflation in the government. He's talking about the hard times Reaganomics is currently creating. He's talking about it in ghetto code. So when the prices go up, don't let your pockets go down. I mean, don't participate in all of the hype that they telling you. Keep getting your money because the inflation is the money going to lose value and you're going to need more of it, right? And then you had the dance community. Why did we tell them to dance? Because you can't be miserable and dance and stay miserable. You have to have an outlet for the misery, right? The aggressiveness, what we call breakdancing, dance offs, to burn that off so you can see clearly, because you got to get past the anger in order to be able to strategize. Most of the average brother gets stuck at the anger and he don't know what to do with the anger and he end up doing some dumb shit. But they had breakdancers come out, and not only is breakdancing battle dancing, but it's also gymnastics. It's teaching you how to flip, right? So then when you learn how to flip, you could flip it off any one of them. It's called passing the baton, right? So then you can look back on history and say who passed the baton and where did they pass it to. It's the culture been telling me the whole story from day one. From day one. Then LL Cool J came out with his radio. What'd he say? My radio, believe me, I like it loud. I'm the man with the box that can rock the crowd. Walking down the street to the hardcore beat while my JVC vibrates the concrete. Why would he? What is he talking about? We naturally have an attraction like moths to the flame to loud music because we know where to party at. LL is telling us if you follow me through this party game, I'm going to get you where you need to go. Mm-hmm. Right? He's just trying to get you to the breakdancers at this time. But no matter what genre of music it is, they got to always go back to the blues, the old Mississippi Delta blues. So he go back to the blues with, when I'm alone in my room, sometimes my conscience call, right? I need love. That's blues in rap form. Because he got to go back down to Mississippi to get the code to know what to talk about next in order for us to put the puzzle together through the arts and entertainment, no matter what it is. They can't hide it. It's in the history, but it's in the history before the Rockefeller controlled education system. And you got to read books that's not recommended, preferably books that's banned. Because the banned books got more truth in it than the books that's approved.
Okay, Rod, since you brought up dancing, when you came on the scene, you kept talking about crip walking. And in my mind, I'm just meeting you at the time. And I'm like, damn, this brother's serious about the spirituality behind crip walking. You kept talking about it. When the Crips started walking, whatever, you kept talking about it. Fast forward 2025, Rod, the most watched Super Bowl of all time, the halftime show of all time.